Online scammers robbed Australians of nearly $100 million last year, and often through connections that were set up on dating sites and on social media. A romance scammer took $260,000 from Melbourne woman Jan Marshall. But she says she's a survivor, not a victim, and she's been working hard to warn other people and help them as well. Let's welcome her to Studio 10. Hi, Jan. Hi there. Many people, Jan, who are defrauded by scammers are a bit too embarrassed to talk about it, but what I love about you is that you're sharing your story so this doesn't happen to anyone else. Can you take us back to the beginning? How did you meet this man who took so much money from you?
Firstly, I'd moved from Brisbane to Melbourne to take up a job down here and wanted somebody to explore beautiful Victoria with. I thought I would go onto an online dating site to find a companion, and I did that. I'd never done it before, and within a day or two I was contacted by a man who supposedly was an engineer in America at that stage. And when I said, "Why are you contacting me? I'm in Australia," he said he would go anywhere for the right person.
Oh dear. Well, on your blog, you say that you weren't lonely, but as you just told us, you were certainly looking for companionship, and the criminal was smart enough to convince you.
Yes, they. Do you remember the song in Frozen called "Love Is an Open Door"?
Yeah.
It's exactly that scenario that they go through. They very quickly say that they only want to be with you, and then they say they think you're very special, and then it sort of builds from there that what we've got is amazing and I just want to be with you. And so they convince you to fall in love with them.
In fact, you've kept records, and it's pretty clear that he was very manipulative. We've got a bit of an edited SMS exchange here. He wrote, "Falling in love with you is the best thing I've ever done. I love you." You replied, "Talk to some girlfriends tonight. One, very concerned I'm vulnerable to being scammed. I went numb for a while, but then came to the realisation that even though there are many things I don't know about you, I do trust you. I think I'm crazy." And he replied, "Sweetie, I told you about these things. No one not in this situation will understand what's been happening between us." His name was Eamon, or so you thought.
Yes.
You were warned, but you wanted to believe in him. Is it because you were vulnerable in a new city and you were open to love?
Look, I was certainly putting myself out there and being open, and any of us who goes on to online dating does that. We know we're taking a risk when we do it. I think having not done it before, I was probably a little bit more naive and vulnerable than people who've done it often. And I think that's one of the dangers, and some of the research coming through is certainly reinforcing that it's those who don't know about these areas that are liable to get caught.
Now, Jan, you never met this person, did you?
Not in person, no.
So
this is one of the things that happens, you know. We've really got to be very wary of those who contact us who are not in our local area. It's a big warning sign.
So
and a lot of them are engineers too, or having a job where they have to or can travel.
The thing is, when did he start asking you for money?
Only after I had agreed to marry him.
Wow.
So they spent the first part really building up an intimate relationship with you.
Yeah, that's grooming.
Yeah, absolutely. It's what they call love bombing. So they really are deliberately getting you to fall in love with them. We all know that once you fall in love, you go into a honeymoon period. And there's a hormonal thing that happens in the brain with the neurotransmitters where oxytocin is one of the chemicals that's created there. And that's the love drug, basically.
Had you spoken to him, Skyped him or anything like that before agreeing to marry him?
Of course, yes. Okay. A lot of internet messages, talking on the phone, talking on
FaceTime?
Video cam, not FaceTime, it really wasn't around then. IM Messenger and Skype, but of course, here's another red flag. They will never let you see them. So they can see you, but you cannot see them.
Well, see,
if that's happening, you know, and there's usually a good reason for it, which is you know, they're in a country where they can't get secure internet or something like that. There's always good reasons for what they say.
So you saw pictures of him, but you never actually saw him
live
in a video or whatever, video call.
That's correct.
We've actually got, again, some iMessages that flicked back and forth between you two when he decided to ask you for money. It says this, is it okay for you to talk? I've heard that there was someone there. And he's replied, they were police and the tax department. Now I have to find $40,000 by Friday or they'll come back to arrest me. What made you go, you know what, I'm going to hand over $40,000 to this man? I haven't seen his face speaking to me face to face, but I'm going to hand the money over.
Well, nonetheless, I thought this was my partner for life.
Yeah.
You know, when we marry, we agree to sort of share our lives, and that's what I thought I was doing, being a good partner. I wanted a partner for life.
But how did it get to $260,000?
There were many different reasons for money.
Because if you had that money, wouldn't you have wanted to get on a plane and gone over to see him?
Look, I tried, I suggested that, but it was always put off. They don't want you to come, so
No,
they'll
of
give
course
you
not.
any
They
reason
just want
not
your
to
money.
come.
But
That's right.
Had you not been in love before?
No, I had not necessarily been in love before.
So
and
this
in that
was
sense,
the first love of your life, was it?
Yes.
Just awful.
And but please keep in mind that sort of makes me vulnerable, yes, but they manipulate the love state.
Of course, of course. And that's the
So
thing,
they
because
deliberately create that because with the oxytocin in the brain, what you're going to do is have reduced anxiety, more trust, more generosity. You know, all of the things they want is created by that state. That's why they are so keen on getting you to fall in love with them.
So do you think people from all walks of life could be scammed like you?
Absolutely. I've met a lot of people contact me through my blog and my support group, and it can happen to anybody. You know, I know of pensioners on the one hand to business people on the other hand. And many people will even go to the extent of taking extra loans or extra mortgages and end up, you know, being very financially compromised as a result of it.
Are you still lonely?
Yes, I'm still lonely, but I'm a bit more
Jan.
careful. I'm a bit more careful about what happens.
Jan, before we let you...
wary.
Yeah, that's so unfair that this has happened to you. Jan, before we let you go, can you run us through, I guess, some of the warnings that you have for other people who might find themselves in this situation? What advice, some things that they can look out for, some red flags that they shouldn't ignore?
Okay, anybody that's trying to get you off a dating site very quickly, that's a red flag. Anybody that is making those romantic noises very much earlier than you think they should because they don't really know you. Anybody who's not local to you. And even be careful about people who are maybe in the next state or something but away. Be very careful about that. And I would always say, when you're doing something like this, get your friends, girlfriends, boyfriends around you and make sure that they are there to sort of take you through that process, because they are the ones who can see when it's a scam if you get caught in the emotional side of it.
Well, Jan's book is called Romance Scam Survivor, and she also has lots more information online at romancescamsurvivor.org. Jan, thank you for being so brave and speaking out. You could be helping lots of other people around Australia.
Jan.
We do appreciate it.
I appreciate that very much.
Okay, up soon, the